Okay, welcome to ICT Integration 1.3. Okay, so today, now what we're going to do is look at our ePortfolio's pedagogy. So to do that, I'm going to give you some examples of how you can actually use ePortfolios in your teaching. So to get started, I'm just going to flick to the screen. You should all have started doing your work and setting up your ePortfolio. Looks like this. Now yours will be different, right? This is just a very basic one of mine, but you can see that by doing this, by setting up an ePortfolio, you can lay out all the stuff that you want the student to complete before they even start doing the work. It's like setting up an assignment, but giving them a template. You give them the rubric, you give them the grid, whatever. Okay. Now, as an example of what you can do here, I'm just going to bring up. Now, this is my results from PLP. Now, PLP is Personal Learning Plan, which our students do in Year 10. This is my mark sheet, or my mark spreadsheet. I actually, at the moment, this is numbers. Most people would use Excel. And I'm going through all the different marking sections. There's a different tab for each task. Now I have to be mindful that this is actually real student data, but I've removed all the names and links to their website as best as I can. So what I can show you though is, here is an example of all the work that I've done. Now most students, when they're doing their work, will submit their work, hand you a draft, send you a copy, send you an email, and say here's the work. Now admittedly, if they send you an electronic copy, they still have the work and can keep going, but most students will sit back and go, no, alright, I will wait until you hand it back. Here, this AA student, I'm just going to click on his work, and it's taking me into their Google site. Oh well, this is Jared Johnson's portfolio, strangely enough. So I've updated this, or used this one that's mine, so that way, but it's basically the same as what the students are doing. I haven't put as much effort into as what the students have, but you can see that I've set this up ready for the students to use. So here it's got the About Me, where the students can put in their stuff. It's got their VART questionnaire testing, which they have to do as part of their PLP. They then, as part of their PLP, look at the different capabilities. Now, in my case, I haven't got that far. I haven't actually done all the capabilities, but here's an example where I've put in critical and creative thinking and explained about that. Our students, I actually got them to add in all the different capabilities. There's 7 capabilities, and critical and creative thinking is one of them. So they're going to go through and look at each of the different parts. In the goals, they had to go through goal setting, they had to go through personal goals. They also had to add in learning goals and a career goal. Over here we've got careers, so our students had to do a mock interview, so they had to choose a job they want to apply for, have to write their resume or CV, and write a cover letter applying for the jobs. We then had business leaders come in and act as the interviewer, and our students then would sit and do, in a sense, a proper interview. It's a mock interview, and the interviewer would then give them feedback. So this is where they could put in their cover letter, their resume, and all their stuff. Reflection is at the end of PLP. You have to reflect on what you've learnt and how well you've done. So this is the entire year's work in one ePortfolio. Now, because I've got this ePortfolio here sitting there, I can at any stage click on any student's work and bring up exactly what they're working on as it's saved with their last save. So any student can't go, oh, I don't have it. A student may say, oh, I've left it at home. It doesn't matter. I found this was immensely useful because the deadline for something might be on the Thursday and I saw them on the Tuesday, and all I would need to do is go to my spreadsheet and go click, right, so click on the first student, bring it up, and I'd say I'm looking at their cover letter, click on that and then go, well, Jared Johnson, you haven't done anything for your cover letter, right? And they go, oh, no worries, I'm getting onto it. Or most of the time they've actually done some. And so yeah, I'm working on that now. So without even leaving my seat, I can keep monitoring the students as they're working. They can all do their own work, and I can just go click, click, click. I could then click through each of them. It would take me 10 seconds, 15 seconds to check all of their work, or each of their work. And I'd say, give them a heads up. Some students have done a great job, some students have done not such a fantastic job. When I do my marking, I actually would mark as I go. Right, I'd mark a progressive score. So if a student had done half the work, I would mark what they'd done and then say, well, currently you're on 30%. Every student, I can tell you, who gets told they're on whatever mark they get told, they say, what can I do to improve it? If they're on 30%, 60%, 99%, they say, what can I do to improve it? So doing progressive marking is fantastic. And we'll go into marks books and marking styles and stuff like that later. Your portfolio can also be used as a shared document in classroom. So you could use it to as your to keep tabs of what's going on in Romeo and Juliet. So you could have Romeo and Juliet portfolio, and then you could have a different tab of what you could have: the characters, the themes, the settings, the families, the genre of it, and linked to Shakespeare. Now you could actually have that set up for each, and then each student downloads a template. You could actually use this as group. You might remember that in when we go up to share, we can actually share this and give other people permissions to edit. So you can have more than one person on any one particular page. So you can actually set them up in groups. Basically, ePortfolios are a huge deal in schools now. Not every school uses them, I have to be honest, but they are becoming more and more popular. Some use them as simply a shoebox of stuff. Some use them as a real portfolio, especially for what we're doing here. The ones that you are using for your degree, I would like to say they're one of the best in the schools of education in South Australia. I know that Flinders Uni do ePortfolios and UniSA do a form of ePortfolios as well. And many universities interstate also do ePortfolios, and our teacher education is actually looking at doing ePortfolios as a common thread, so that they can use that to determine how well our teaching staff are meeting the Australian professional standards for teachers, and whether they're meeting their PD hours. They can also store all their stuff. So ePortfolios are great. They can also be used to apply for jobs. Fantastic ePortfolios. All you need to do is send the link to a potential employer. If they look at it and go, wow, this is amazing, you can walk straight into the job. If you're sending them a 40-page portfolio of work, I can honestly tell you that most HR managers spend about 30 seconds looking at your work. If it's a portfolio, they'll flick to any particular page. If it's really thick, they might not even do that. So if you have spent quite a lot of money recording it and printing it and sending it off, it's gone. The good thing about an ePortfolio is if you're sending the link to somebody, it's instantaneous. They can choose whatever they want to look at in their own time from whenever they are. They can consume it in any way they want. And I know of staff who have not got the job that they applied for, but their link was then sent to another principal at another school, because the job that they applied for at their first school, the person came back from maternity leave or whatever reason, so they weren't able to continue on their job, but they were doing so well, or their ePortfolio was so good, that they were then passed on to the next job. And so they got a job which they weren't even expecting at a completely different school, because they had a great ePortfolio. So to recap, ePortfolios are a really good and useful device for education. They can be used for demonstrating students' learning, not just for you as well. It's great for the students that they're actually demonstrating their learning to the whole world, if you want to do that. It allows for assessment at any time. You're not taking away their work, so they can continue to work on it. And you can set up the task exactly as you laid it out.